Hello everybody and welcome back to Tlatoani, where we are currently doing a lot of things. And one of the things that we need to do eventually here is we need to find a place to grow some megui. And that's going to be interesting because that wants dry climates. That means that this canal here is going to mean that we can't do it right here. We could maybe do it up this way. That could be interesting, actually. So let's take a road up over this direction. There's only so much space up here that we can do it, though. We can Chinampa the territory up over this direction. That's a possibility. We're not going to need much megui, I don't think. But we're going to need some. Because we need to have a source of bulk, and we don't need a lot of that, but we need a little bit of it. And we're going to need a source of probably cloth, right? We're going to need a weaver. Yeah, we're definitely going to need some cloth. So I'm thinking like 2 farms of it. And let's just run a road up this direction for right now. I'm just going to put the road here. And I'm thinking the farmers' huts should go about here, up this way. My question is, can this be next to... let's see here. Oh, we can't even grow pulque here. We can't grow megui at all. Okay, that's good to know. In that case, we're going to need to import it. So that's understood. Are we set up to do that at all right now? We're importing cotton. But we're going to need to import some megui. That's accepting. And that's accepting. Okay, so we're going to need to find another import location. That's fine. Okay, so that's understood. We're going to have space be at quite a premium here. That's very, very clear. So all of this up over here is going to get built. We need a lot of clay up over this direction, and that will eventually happen. So this out over here, yeah, we're still working on that. We eventually want to get some porter yards up over this way, but for now, that's okay. Now, we could definitely put a trader, like, down over here. That's maybe not a bad idea. Yeah, that should be in range there. So this would be a trading post right here. And who do we want this to trade with? Well, we're looking for somebody who can give us pulque. And just pulque. That's all we're interested in right now. So that's salt. They can also give us... Oh, this is export. They can accept that. So that's a no. 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 Here we go. That's an import. Okay, and we could also import megui here, and that's probably not a bad idea. So we do something like this, and then this is import, export, export. Okay, we can export fruit and chili here. That sounds good. And then anything else over here? Well, we can accept clay here. Absolutely. And then we can also accept some stone and timber for construction materials, and then we'll see what else we need over this way. But right now, I'm interested in bringing in both pulque and megui over here. So that, of course, means we're going to need a weaver, and we're going to need that weaver fairly quickly here. So let's get a cloth weaver up over this way. I don't like putting it here. We could put it here. I don't like that either. I'm going to put it perhaps over this way, or maybe even over here. That'll be fine for now. And I don't think we need a brewery if we're directly importing the pulque. So that should be okay. Yeah, that should be fine. So this temple is actually seeing strong progress. I'm surprised that it's going that quickly. This noble compound has finished. It needs timber to develop and housing probably up over here, but this common home is fine. So I'm not concerned about that right now. I would like to see this road coming out over here. That's a little awkward with that granary there. I guess it can come out and around the granary. That's definitely a little awkward, but okay. Some of our pending structures are impossible to reach for now. That will change. So that's understood. We are going to get access to more stuff up over here. We're going to need to grow cotton. Does cotton need to be fertilized? Or does it, I should say not fertilized. Does it need to be... Yeah, that's not close to a farm hut with free space. I'm wondering about whether it needs to be irrigated or not. So let's just temporarily, I'm going to delete this, but let's put a farmer's hut here and let's put a cotton bed here. That's point 2. This is point 2 out over here as well. It can be built in territory that is fertilized, and that does boost its output. Okay, good to know. So cotton should be fertilized. Okay, beautiful. Well, we'll continue to work on all this over here. We've got this cloth weaver going in. We're going to need a lot of clay, of course. We're outputting a decent amount of it at this moment. I think we'll be fine on that front, and we just need to get some of this stuff going, right? So over here in this granary, we don't have a lot going on here. That's understood. We've got this small market here. It's got some maize in it. No fruit, no chili, and it's got some fish. Sure, that all seems fine for now. So we're going to want to definitely improve the amount of, and this road should be extended out this direction. We're going to want to improve the amount of food that we're producing. I'm currently leaning towards having 2 of these 4 farm plots here be food producing and 2 of them being cotton producing. Perhaps these 2 being food producing and these 2 being cotton producing. Something along those lines is the current thinking. So these chinampas are, of course, going to take a while. No shockers there. This is all very long-term investment. So we're making good money. I like it. And we're just mostly waiting on our clay rolling in, which is slowly happening. So as the clay comes in, I don't feel the need to expand our clay production right now because this is kind of our largest clay outlay at this moment, and it's going to get a little easier going forward. So that seems good for now, and this is roaded here? Yes. Okay, cool. So what's the status of these chinampas? They're being worked on. We need a lot of clay out over this direction. So this porter stop here is able to deliver that, and slowly this will happen. Bandits were beaten, sure. So we need to finish construction of additional estates out over here. This is going to be stone. Our stone is going to be at a premium here, so we want to try to build as little stone as possible. That's understood. And we've got these fruit gardens out over here that drop fruit into nearby homes, so that should be fine. These guys will have access to some fruit. But these farms up over here, they're at 32 out of 32. They're just a little awkward. In fact, they're pretty awkward in the way that they're set up. I'd like to use up this space up over here, and the question is, how do we best go about doing that? Is there enough space here for a single farmer's hut? Is my question. So I'm going to put this out over on this side where it's not meadow. And the idea would be that this would be a food producer. So we would have this be maize out over here, connecting all the way over to here. That's actually 18. So this can go here and be 16. And then we can do fruit trees. 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we would need chili beds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6, 7. What if we took that out? And we put a chili bed here. We're going to need to wait for these chinampas. And that's understood. But let's take this ahujot out of here. I don't think I nailed that pronunciation, but let's take that out of there. Hang on. There's a spot here. So this should be a chili bed. And then this can go back to being here. Ah, that does get farmed there. Okay. So that does require a farmer's hut. That's noted. For some reason I was thinking it didn't, but it apparently does. So that's fine. We'll just continue to work on this. So we'll get this put back in. I'm assuming, yeah, this cottage is at 31 of 32. So what we need to do is we need to wait for this Chinampa to finish up. That's going to be 5 timber, and then 20 clay and 20 timber. So we need to put 2 more here. And then those are going to be chili beds. And then we'll put this guy back here, and that should go into this cottage. So that seems good. For some reason, I just forgot that there was a spot there. That's unfortunate, but here we are. So that's fine for now. We're definitely seeing the forest down here being pretty heavily cut down. That said, these are harvested by the cottage, aren't they? I think they are. We do need access to more diversion out over this way, and I'm thinking about places where we could put it. There's really not much. An alcove out here could be Chinampa'd. An alcove here would reach here. We definitely need an alcove over this direction to get these guys in place. So that's certainly something that we can do. We could put some small gardens out over here, but that's really just ambience, I feel like. I wonder if a plaza over here could reach. I mean, yeah, the symmetry isn't great. I'm looking at the range. Okay, so that's definitely interesting. Diversion out over here would be something we could do. Let's just go ahead and put in a couple of Chinampas right here. So just like a line of Chinampas there, and start working on doing some reclamation out over this direction. Kind of like that. Do clay pits need access to swamp? Let's see. They need to be 3 tiles from water or swamp. Okay, so that could potentially cause us some issues here. Let's not do any reclamation here, at least not naively. Let's think about how we need to do this. So, I do want to have these 2 be Chinampa'd, for sure. We're just going to have to be deliberate about it over here, because we need access to it, right? So this is going to become an alcove right here. I do want these Chinampas here. This will still be within 3 tiles, so 1, 2, 3 of both of these swamp tiles. So that should be fine. But some of these down over here, they would need to be moved if we Chinampa'd out over this way. So for the time being, let's not do that. Okay. So we're making some progress out over this direction. This farmer's hut, there's not a lot going on there. We may want to have this road connect in here. Or at least up here somewhere. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would connect in like up over here. Like that. Okay. So that's noted. We could do it that way. That's definitely an option. Because I'm thinking about collection out over here, but that should be fine. Well, this won't actually reach this porter yard. It would reach this trading post. So we can have it be something like that. That should be okay. Cool. So that seems fine. We are definitely making a surprising amount of progress on this temple. I didn't expect the temple to be building this quickly, but we're not really making much progress up over here, and this is probably due to a lack of porter yards up over here. So I'm thinking right now that we should have at least a porter stop somewhere over this way. Perhaps like here? Yeah. So the idea behind that, of course, is that this would be about collecting timber and stone and maybe clay. We do need some clay out here, so that really means like a porter yard. Maybe we should put it up here. And just be like, this one is not going to have farms in it. And we can have another canal like up over here to set up for another farm. That's a possibility. So if we did this, this would be able to have clay. It would be able to have, and let's have this unbalanced for now. timber and stone. And then it would also be able to accept maize, fruit, and chili. So that would be reasonably close over here, although it'd have to go, you know, all the way around here like this. But sure. That'll at least get us a source of building materials up over there. So that seems fine for now. We're going to have a big space premium, though. That's for sure. So we're going to have to be a little bit cautious with how we end up doing all of this. This up over here needs access to more diversion. We do have a sauna going in here. We have an alcove down here. That's reasonably fine for now. I think that we should probably put in a collection of common homes right here. And I'm going to run a road up like that. There we go. And these are going to be like the servants out over here, right? So they're going to run a lot of the service buildings out in our noble district out over here. So that seems fine for now. We're net negative for the year on our axe monies, but the year just ticked over, so I'm not terribly concerned about that. So this here's got some bulk, it's got some megui, that's good. We have a cloth weaver up over here that will provide cloth out this way. That looks great. So what else are we going to need? Well, we need to get these farms online, that's for sure. That's kind of step one here. And actually, I'm thinking that we probably want to also chinampa these tiles out over this way. So that would be these here. This should probably be a canal. And then this would need to be chinampa'd here. Potentially. There's not really anything we want to put there, I don't think. So that's fine. And then we can have this canal just connect in right here. Okay. That seems good for now. So what else are we going to need? Well, if we go to our objectives here, we must build a temple to Tlaloc and several modest estates, which we're working on. We must prepare a festival for the new fire ceremony in 8 years. We must establish at least 4 trade partners, and we have 20 years to accomplish these goals. Okay. So yeah, woven into a valuable export good. That's what we expect. So this takes in megui and outputs cloth, but cotton weavers, they produce luxuriant garments for the nobles from cotton fiber. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of cotton fiber, and we should probably think about having at least 2 of these. I'm actually going to move them down over here to be a little closer to these homes. So we'll put in 2 of these right now. And we're currently set to export some cotton buds, but we're going to want to change that. Because cotton weavers, taking cotton buds, they output cotton. Okay. Do we directly export the cotton, or do we want to make that into anything else? Armorers use cotton stiffened with salt. We could have like a single armorer down over this way somewhere. I don't love this spot, but it's kind of the best spot we have right now. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this section of road. No, I'm not, actually. I'm just going to leave that be. We can have these be like gardens or something out over here. That's fine. So we're going to put in an armorer here. We need a source of salt. That was not what I wanted to click on. Back over this way. We need a source of salt somewhere, and I saw that we could import some, but not from any of our existing trading posts. So we probably need to set up another trading post here, and can we fit that in over here? No. We could fit it in here, I suppose. So we need to have a source of salt coming in. So what do we got? I know I saw that we could import salt. Here we go. So this would be exporting cotton. We can also export furniture. Can we make furniture? I don't think we can. Pretty sure we can't. We should have a couple of kilns, though, at least one or two. We're going to need the pottery. So they are going to go in right here for right now. Okay, so something along those lines should do. So we've got this armorer here. It's lacking salt, but we'll get that eventually. I'm not sure about people to work in this. We might need to have like a common home down over here. That's reasonable, but this is going to be just out of range of this market. It is. I'm actually going to cancel this, and we're going to try to put the common home in here, but that's going to need to be chinampa'd. So we're going to need to do that. Okay, so cancel that home. This is just out of range of this market, and I don't want it to be, so we're going to need to put in a chinampa here instead. Okay, so that's reasonably fine for now. We've got all of this slowly being worked on. This is going to require a lot of additional work. This farmer's hut is coming online, and at this point, we're still waiting on these two chinampas, so there's not much going on there. There's a lot of construction being wanted out over here, and now that we've got these porter yards over here, this should be reasonably fine. And does this reach the granary? Actually, it does. Barely. So that looks good. It can be delivered over any distance anyway, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so that seems reasonably fine. Hopefully that will get us some progress going up over here, but stone is our primary lack right now, and that's absolutely understood. Our stone is going to be fairly minimal. Now, up over this direction, we might want to consider putting in something like an additional fortress about here and running a stone road up over this direction. This is part of our noble district. So a fortress would go in up over here. We keep getting a notification over here that our military isn't strong enough to deter attackers, so we should probably be working on that. So we're currently lacking stone, cash, cotton buds, salt, and cotton. None of that is shocking. We'll get there. Eventually. We're making some progress up over here, so that's something. It is, however, approximately time to put a cut in here. It's a couple minutes early, but I feel like this is a reasonable time to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here. And next episode, we're probably going to finish up our temple to Tlaloc, which will be absolutely phenomenal. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.